What's up, guys? We are back. It has been months and months that you have been waiting. There was a cliffhanger in season 1, and we left you hanging all fall, all winter, and now we are back for season 2. It's the season 2 premiere. Has it been that long?
It hasn't been that long, but it's felt that long, that's for sure.
Felt that long to me, but we are back. It is our premiere season 2 kickoff episode. The launch party is here. Christopher Seeger is here. Jason Up is here. We might have somebody else sitting next to us later on tonight.
Yeah, we have a special guest.
What are we doing? What are we giving these people to kick off our second inaugural season?
The first episode, Jason. Hold on to your butt, because this one's gonna make some red marks on that. This is gonna
red marks,
skid marks. This is gonna be huge. This episode, folks, is about our 1980s sleepovers and VHS renting habits.
But those two go hand in hand.
That's right, they do. That's why we're doing it.
That's what we're talking about tonight. You know that you were a part of those glorious 1980s sleepovers when you left the comfort of your own home and went and laid in somebody else's bed all night long. All the adventures that we had, all the fun that we had. We're going to talk about some sleepover disasters.
Oh, for sure.
And what goes hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly with sleepovers, you got to talk about renting some VHS tapes from your local mom and pop video store. And speaking of local mom and pop video stores,
oh my goodness, we've got a surprise for you folks. Wait until later in the show.
Just hang in there. Don't go anywhere. Watch it. Check it out. What else are we doing tonight? We got a special guest to talk to you tonight. We got a special guest to bring in to the new 80s revolution.
Yeah.
We've got some pickups. We got some pickups. You bought some stuff a while back. I have been expanding on my newest obsession, my newest collection, the real Ghostbusters. Got some stuff to show you tonight. Christopher brought a whole box of fun new stuff over tonight.
I did.
We got a little bit of a different backdrop tonight.
Cornucopia of mischief.
We got the can you see it over there? I don't know. We got the NES video game sort of corner over there. So new set, new season, new special guests, new pickups, talking about sleepovers and VHS tapes tonight on the New 80s Revolution. But first, check out these commercial breaks. We'll be right back.
Inside this software ball is a neat new friend.
Party and Puffball Popple sold separately.
See? Pop goes to Popple.
Inside out they twist and shout. Popples love to party. Girls, you'll have a ton of fuzzy fun. Pop goes to Popple, pop goes to Popple.
When you unpop a Popple, you let the fun out of the bag. 9 Popple characters, including Party and Puffball, come in different sizes and colors. Each Popple sold separately. From Mattel.
I heard my babysitter telling her boyfriend. What? How quarter pounders are made. How? They're fried. But she said Burger King has a quarter-pound double burger, and it's flame broiled. Not fried.
Burger King presents Flame Broiled Doubles, the double hamburger, double cheeseburger, and bacon double cheeseburger. So you never have to eat a fried quarter pounder again.
What's wrong with frying?
It's an alien. No kidding. Where? It's living in America. I like what they've done with the place. It loves cats. Can't get enough of them. It's Alf, and now it's everywhere.
He's debonair, and yet fuzzy. My parents just don't understand our relationship. I mean, this whole casting's been blown all out of proportion. Alf.
Alf, alien life form, new from Coleco.
What? Commercials. We bring it to you every single episode. We bring you commercials that bring tears to your eyes, smiles to your faces.
Makes my eyes
and the
sweat.
tips. Nips too?
Yeah, man.
Nips
Makes
and
my
the
eyes
tips,
sweat.
all of them.
Nipples drips.
We are back. We are back. That's the first commercial set of season 2. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you loved it. We're back on the couch, and you know what? It's a little tight on this couch.
Very tight.
And there's a bit of an odor in the air.
It's stinky.
Yeah, it stinks.
It's extra stinky.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that's me.
Thanks to our special guest. What are you doing in my room? Who are you? I don't know who you are.
Well, my name is Clint Kelly, and Chris's friend, fellow collaborator making films, and together we have a company called Midnight Kids Productions, where we make movies, independent horror, comedy, fellow fan of the 80s, and...
Yes, the reason... you just move your mouth and I'll do your voice. Anyway, the reason why we wanted Clint on the show, one, is because he was coming up to visit, and two, I've known Clint now for what, 7, 8 years, something like that? 7 years, 8 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing meeting Clint that became very apparent was that this kid was also a lover of the 1980s. And it's one of the things that we bonded over, not just making movies, because he also is my right-hand man collaborator at making films. He's in the films, he shoots the movies, so he's got that going for him. And but he also knows his stuff about a lot of the 80s magics. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about,
Yes.
Mr. Clint, because Clint is of the younger generation. He's not part of the new power generation.
No.
He's the younger generation, and what's interesting, which is a great perspective from somebody who is like 11 years younger than us.
Oh my.
What exposed you to the 1980s? Because for the most part, kids his age, people his age, adults now, I mean, he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
But they're into, say, the 90s. They are into that thing, and that's what they're into. They didn't sort of have the exposure to the other decades. And I know there's people throughout my life peppered in who are around his age who are also 80s fanatics. So you got to kind of wonder, where did that come from?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not exposed to it, it's something that you have to explore. I mean, we've got fans of this show that are
15.
Yeah.
15 years
That's
old.
awesome.
I have a fan of this show who is 11 years old, which is mind-blowing. So
Shout out to that guy.
absolutely.
You are awesome.
That's our
You
man,
are
Bill
awesome.
Elson.
And that was him.
Yeah.
You know? So, Clint,
My man Chase, my man Bill, my man Clint. Where did this decade enter your life?
Well, I was born in 1988. So my first, bouts of consciousness was being around 4 years old. So, it was just, I remember growing up watching Beetlejuice. It was just kind of the stuff that, like, my parents showed me. I was raised by my grandparents. So, like, a lot of this stuff that I watched was older.
another one raised by the
Grandparents?
Yes,
Wow.
I was raised by my grandparents.
This whole couch has been raised by their grandparents.
Yeah, so, and I feel like that has something to do with it, They're showing you older stuff and, trying to keep you away from the evils of the modern world and stuff.
It's modern.
Modern world.
That's how we say it.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just I grew up seeing these things on TV, and I could always notice a difference from, like, what was current to the older stuff. I just always thought it was better quality, just whatever. I thought the stories were better, the effects. Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved movies with special effects. The main movie that made me want to be a filmmaker was The Goonies, and that's when I first realized that there was a magic in movies, that they could literally take you away. You could get absorbed into them, get taken away to another world, and live out that fantasy for 90 minutes at a time. Yeah. So it was just that I was just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was like my favorite TV show growing up, which was started in the 80s, went into the 90s. So a lot of this stuff was like Beetlejuice was 1988 when I was born. And then I got obsessed with Tim Burton's Batman when I was a kid. Sure. So a lot of these, like, I loved Pee-wee's Playhouse. All this stuff was just ingrained into me when I was a kid. And Ernest,
Oh, yeah. We've got a special Ernest bond.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
It was all just stuff that just as a kid I thought was so funny, hilarious, and I just grew up appreciating it. Well, so it was just they started me out young, you know?
Well, awesome. You fit right in. Welcome to the big show. And talking about movies, we've already, we've done our TV show episode. And this is not a movie episode, but that's a good segue because we're going to be talking about, VHS and video store, mom and pop, old school, retro throwback video stores. But first, we're going to talk about sleepovers tonight.
That's right.
Do you guys have had some sleepovers?
Oh, of course.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we're still having them.
right. I believe there's one tomorrow night.
There is.
Yeah.
But, again, sleepovers still exist today in 2018. Okay, that goes without saying. But was there a more special time to have a sleepover than the 1980s?
I mean, again, this is going to be one of those things where, like, we're old kind of curmudgeon-y turd bags.
Back in my day!
Yes, back in my day, it was better.
Come on, we wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't.
And it
better.
really was, folks. Like, it was a magical time. I mean, and you'll hear us say that, and you know it. The 80s were a magical time. And certainly into the 90s, because I was still having sleepovers into the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's just, and like you've said several times, Jason, it was new. Mm-hmm. All of it. It wasn't something redone, rehashed, an offshoot of this, an offshoot of that. Everything we were experiencing was happening for the first time.
Right. So what you kids are doing today, we've already done. We started it.
And we did it better.
We did it better.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's use this segment, if you will, to talk about our memories of sleepovers. I mean, I have mine. You guys have it. What? I mean, how did they happen? How did they develop? What are some of your best 1980s sleepover memories? And I got a feeling we're going to be calling a few people out in this episode. We're going to be name dropping a little bit.
Oh, sure. Who wants to go first? Should we have our guest go first?
Yeah,
I mean, it's only
Whatever.
fitting to have
go
our
first.
guest go first.
Let's have the 90s sleepover kid go
So the
first.
majority of
Did
my
they do
sleepovers
in the 90s?
Yes,
Oh, yes,
we
they
did.
did.
Yeah. The majority of my sleepovers actually were, I did have a few, and I'll tell you the stories of like my friends' sleepovers, but as a kid, my best friends growing up were my sister and my cousin. So we'd always, and I was raised by my grandparents. My sister lived with my mom, and of course my cousin lived with her parents, you know.
My sister lived with my mom.
Yeah, yeah. And so I would always go over to my mom's house to, hang out with my sister, and and my cousin. So my cousin Megan and my sister Ashley, we'd all stay in my room because I had my room and then my sister's room. My sister's room had bunk beds, but my room had like a nice TV. And by nice TV, I mean like a CRT tube, 20-inch, whatever TV. So we used to, we had a wall of VHS tapes. And this might bleed in a little to like the rental stuff, but this was kind of like what we owned, our own personal stuff. So we'd each pick out a movie, and then we'd play like a game, and whoever won the game, that would be the movie that we'd watch that night. And so that was mostly our sleepovers consisted of board games. We played a lot of Clue. We played a lot of Monopoly, where we would just make up our own rules. We play like the card game, like match game, where you'd have like, there'd be like 30 tiles, and then you'd flip one over.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a memory game, and you had to match.
Yeah.
We played that, and then we'd watch a ton of movies. Just whatever we could find, and it bleeds into what we'll be talking about later, rentals. And then when I would go over to my friend's house, those nights were different than hanging out because my friends, they weren't huge movie fans, I feel like, for the most part. What I really connected with my friends back in like elementary school and middle school was video games. So those sleepovers was almost up until 6 a.m. in the morning playing Nintendo games, Nintendo 64, PlayStation. This is 90s, so mine is a little different. But we did play some of the old school Sega games. But yeah, with the friends, video games was number one. With the family, it was watching movies all night and playing board games, which was a huge thing.
What about like every sleepover has their snacks?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What were your go-to snacks?
So my sister was obsessed with Cocoa Crisps. You remember those?
Cocoa Crisps.
Yeah.
Cereal?
Yeah.
Cookie Crisp?
No. Cocoa. They were the
Cocoa Krispies?
Cocoa Krispies. Yeah.
Okay.
She used to call them Aga Boo for some reason. It was just something that she made up. So she would always be
I gotta
snacking
get
on
some of that. I got boo.
Yeah, I need some Aga Boo. And my mom knew exactly what it was.
We gotta get them I got boos.
And I loved Lucky Charms, but I loved the marshmallows.
Just the marshmallows?
Yes, I would just pick. My mom would buy a whole box, and I would
bowl of
seriously.
marshmallows.
You probably like bouncing.
I would just
off,
pick.
man.
I would just pick out all
Yeah.
the marshmallows from the bag. And my mom, back in the day, used to work at Subway. All right, and so she used to bring me home a Italian sandwich with just plain Lay's chips. So I became obsessed with just plain Lay's chips, and my sister became obsessed with them too. So we would always have chips, and a hell of a good ranch dip.
Made in Rochester, New York.
That was
Area.
our thing. Chips and dip, and cereal. That's what we'd always snack on.
Okay,
Hers was Cocoa Krispies. Mine was the
Down with
marshmallows from Lucky Charms.
I got boo.
I got boo.
With the Lay's, I heard that you can't eat just one. Is that true?
Never. And then eventually we got into Pringles too, but chips.
Yeah, I got Pringles, man.
Chips
Pringles.
was always our go-to. We loved. I mean,
That's
still to this
fantastic.
day, we can kill
That's fantastic.
a bag of chips.
Good
you know?
stuff.
Well, you kill my whole house.
Yeah,
This guy like eats me out of
house and home.
Yeah.
That's why when you mentioned snacks, I laughed to myself because
He ate his whole family.
I'll tell that story, but as
And then as far as drinks
You'll
go,
see.
I had a Coke addiction, and not like sniffing Coke. Coca-Cola, I had a serious problem. I would drink. I'm not even kidding. Maybe 10 a day.
Holy crap!
I was obsessed with Coke.
Yeah.
I believe my sister actually was a Pepsi fan at the time, so my mom had to, instead of just buying one thing, she always had to buy two of each. She had to buy a Pepsi for my sister and Coke for me, so that was like our go-to drinks. And I didn't drink water until I was a teenager.
And you
I'm not even joking.
You
And
still
now,
graduated high school.
I did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I did.
I know.
Yeah.
Great stuff,
Yeah,
man.
it's
You
good,
really
man.
you brought some substance to this topic.
I try.
That's why we have guests on this show. And everybody out there watching, all 742 subscribers of you, you have a chance
That's awesome.
to sit right over there as well.
That's
So
right.
we'll talk about that later.
You could be in my seat. You could sit.
You could
Exactly.
smell where he farted.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I
but
burned a hole in the couch.
even months from now, you can smell it. But
Oh, it's gonna be here.
we'll talk about that later. Let's keep talking about sleepovers. You want to talk, or you want me to?
Whatever, man. What do you think? You
I'm
got
gonna,
something?
yeah,
loaded?
I'm gonna ride the wave.
You
I
got
got
a
something
chamber?
loaded. I got
Okay,
something.
man. Let's do this.
Ooh,
Give it to me. I want to feel that nostalgia.
I'll tell you what. My first sleepover, I recall like it was yesterday.
It was
Because it was
a good
yesterday.
time. We had so much fun.
I stayed on Christopher's couch yesterday, first sleepover ever. I was about 9 years old, and met a kid in the neighborhood, and the concept came up in conversation. Sleepover.
You were in a white van with
Right.
this dude.
There was some van that pulled up alongside me, gave me some spree, and said, "Let's have a sleepover."
Let's go collect some kids.
Let's go. There were multiple other kids there in a video camera.
and a big
man.
net.
I don't
they
know.
had just a huge.
I don't know.
Like the Garbage Pail Kids.
And if this wasn't PG, I'd say some other stuff. But whatever. And I remember, sleeping on this kid's pull-out couch, not alone. No, he was right next to me. And then in the morning, his baby brother, his 2-year-old baby brother, came downstairs with a load in his diaper that smelled like Clint's last flatulence. And woke me up from a sound sleep. His 2-year-old stinky brother, but that that
Sounds
was
like a good sleepover.
That was a great sleeper. That was the early the early introduction. But when I think of sleepovers, and Chris Tansky, who was sitting on this couch, and who is a friend of ours, Chris Tansky knows that my first real series of sleepovers came from my best pal when I was in, elementary school. Howie Decker, and I know you're watching this. Man, the sleepover, as you began the planning stages, I mean, you started talking about a sleepover like around Tuesday. And you had
hyping it up.
Shirtless man slapping.
Exactly. You had to get the parents on the phone together. They had to coordinate this thing, and then it began. You'd get over there, maybe around noon, and the fun would just begin. And we had so many sleepovers. In fact, that was kind of, until like later when you get a little older, sleepovers are like, you want to crash here, and you just stay there. But that was my era of sleepovers. Like, that's it. I didn't really sleep over anybody else's house until I was in high school, and that was like, just, you want to stay here tonight. But Howie Decker and I, man, we were playing Atari. We were making prank phone calls.
Yeah, that was it. That was when I left out.
Yeah, we were of course watching movies. But of course, we were wrestling fans, so we were watching wrestling. I would sleep over on pay-per-view nights. I would bring my entire stash of wrestling figures over to his house, and we would have these, super cards together. In the summertime, we would, practically beg his dad if we could go in the pool. And the most special memory for me of sleepovers, especially with Howie, was he lived in this little town out here called Chilai, and right up the street from his house was a Kmart. And back in 1986 or 1985, us two little 10-year-old kids would walk up to Kmart with about 47 cents between us, and we would just gawk at the toy aisle. And the best part was we had most of the stuff we were looking at. Like, we'd go to the wrestling figure aisle, and we'd be like, oh my God, look at this. But we had that figure. Yeah. So it was like, what are we looking at? But we would walk up to Kmart, and we would, that would be part of our sleepover. It was just so great. And the actual sleep part, that was hit or miss. We would probably, I'm sure there were some sleepovers where we tried to pull an all-nighter. There were definitely some sleepovers where we crashed around 1 or 2 in the morning. But, it was just always such an event. And it was something that if you planned early, you were so excited about for the whole week. There was nothing that could top the sleepover. And when you talked about snacks, I was always a hungry kid. A really hungry kid. Like, I could eat all day. And I still can, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But
I know the feeling.
My sleepover pals in the past could be like, oh, I had a piece of cheese for breakfast. I'm good for the day. So, like, I would go to their house and be like, you hungry? And they'd be like, nah, not really hungry. Maybe I could have a sandwich, or, maybe your mom could make me some pasta.
Yeah.
Like, I could eat 24/7 at a sleepover. But particular snacks, not really. Again, whatever they were willing to feed me, I was willing to eat. Chips and dip, of course, is a staple.
Yeah.
I remember my mom when people would come over to my house for sleepovers, she would make this concoction, which obviously, when I think about it today, is very common. But back then, it was like this glorious thing she created. She would take canned chili and canned cheese and melt them together.
Yeah, some chili con queso.
As it's known today. But back then it was just like the coolest thing my mom ever made ever. And it would be in a bowl, and we would dip corn chips and Doritos in it all night long. And that was my favorite sleepover snack.
Did you guys have a cool name for it, like Agaboo?
No, it was just, my sisters and I.
Did your room smell?
My room smelled.
After that?
Yeah, and you should bring it out and like...
It was Blazing Saddles.
My sisters and I would like hover over it as if it were our last meal. And, we would just like fiend for it. But you cannot replicate the sleepovers of our generation. They were the most fun we've had as kids. We can replicate them tomorrow. Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Why don't you tell us your memories?
Okay. Well, it's very similar to Clint's. Earliest sleepovers I can remember are with cousins, sister, cousins, whatever. I had a very large group of cousins who were my best friends growing up. I certainly had neighborhood kids that were, my homies, and they would come over. But as far as earliest memories, it was the cousins. And we would do skits. We would...
You would movie make back then.
Oh, yeah, because I started making movies when I was 7 years old with a video camera, which was mine, but really it was the family's. I've talked about it in an episode, but it was mine, damn it.
You can pry it from his cold, dead hands.
Yeah, so we would make silly skits, show them off to the family, laugh. We would just have a gay old time. Then we would usually... It was never any board game playing. It was very simply just skits and let's watch movies. And let's watch movies that the cousins shouldn't have been watching. Because I was always the oldest out of everybody. And...
Never-ending Story.
Well, I love the Never-ending Story. But we're talking about Fright Night and, movies like that and the Friday the 13th films and...
Debbie Does Dallas.
No. But the Fright Night obsession was very early on, and some of those memories with Fright Night are connected to my cousins, because it became a thing. Anytime the cousins came over for the weekend, we knew we were rocking Fright Night.
Yeah.
You watched it more than once?
Or I would go over to my grandma Bowker's house, which was about... And this was fun because this was... they lived about 25 minutes away. And this was fun because every time she came to pick me up to go over there for the weekend, we'd go to McDonald's.
Ooh, McDonald's and sleepovers going.
Yeah, so she would get a crap ton of Happy Meals. So the back seat was just kind of filled with Happy Meals because the cousins from over there were coming to Grandma's house.
Wow.
So we were all going to go over there, and we would just chow down on our Happy Meals.
This is when McDonald's was healthy.
And that smell permeating through the...
Part of
my
the
goodness,
nutritious
through the air.
balanced meal.
So fun, so fun. So the kids' spot at my grandma's place was down in the basement. And they had their own, kind of similar to this. It was for the kids. It was for the grandkids. It was for everybody. So there'd be TV, there'd be couch, there'd be a thing full of sodas and a pantry with snacks, and we had one of those cool ass Hot Wheel big ass cars that you sat in and hit the electricity, and it would just
the 3 mile an hour gimmick.
and we would just ride around the basement in one of those. And the go-tos at my grandma's sleepovers were ham sandwiches, Pringles.
All right.
Pringles, it was raining Pringles at Grandma's. And Mountain Dew.
Ooh.
All right.
Now, Mountain Dew...
Nothing says going to sleep
I
like
know,
Mountain
for
Dew.
kids, is a nightmare. But this is what they always had. So they had one of those meat freezers.
Oh, yeah, stocked with Mountain Dew?
It was just Mountain Dew. It wasn't frozen. It was a fridge. It was a meat fridge with Mountain
Dew.
Mountain Dew. I had Pepsi as well. It was
Yeah.
Pepsi and Mountain Dew. But
Pepsi products.
we all, drink up the Mountain Dew because it was the most, caffeinated stuff.
It's like little junkies shooting up Mountain Dew.
Oh, my gosh. And we would watch scary movies. And it would freak... Casey...
Yeah.
It would freak him out. To where he would start crying and run upstairs because we were watching stuff that he was just no, So that's that. But then as I got middle school, that type of age, where the friends and the neighborhood friends would come over. Again, it would be mostly movies. We really didn't do any games. It was I would have, up to 3 to 4 people come over. And it was sort of we're going to get into it with the the VHS renting, but the ritual was each one of us got to pick the movie that we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, my aunt would be like, I lived with my great-grandparents and my great-aunt. So she would just kind of dole out the money, and we would run down to the video store, Video Connection, and it would be like, well, okay, well, Kyle, you pick that one, and, you know, whatever, he would just pick it. You know, David, you pick that. You know, whatever. So it was always a mishmash of movies, and not everybody liked everybody's movies.
Yeah.
You know, but we had to do it. It was the ritual. You know, maybe some of us were doing something else while that movie was playing.
Yeah, one kid picked Ishtar for some reason, you know.
Yes.
The Ten Commandments.
Yeah, it was never that bad. It was always in the realm of something cool that, you know, we would get, but it just was like, oh man, really? You know, sometimes it was like that, you know. But we just went with it because it was fun, you know.
Yeah.
Pranks, we did do pranks, and we taped them.
Ooh, Turkey Boys.
I still have cassette tapes of our pranks. I still have them.
And you will see them here.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I was just gonna say I'll put them in. I'll put the tape in. So here's the tape. Maybe in a Patreon segment you can hear some of our.
You gotta pay to see this footage, boys and girls.
I don't know. Yeah, so we would prank, and of course this was back in the day when nothing happened if you pranked. There wasn't any like you know.
No. Star 69 ruined the pranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was before that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do have cassettes of that, so we would prank and we would laugh ourselves silly. I mean, sometimes we would talk about girls and things like that, or boobs. Probably with me, it was probably boobs because I love big natural boobs, and my uncles would hook us up sometimes with some adult material to watch at a sleepover.
Hey.
So thus my obsession with Christy Canyon began.
Chase doesn't know who she is.
Cover your ears.
Cover your ears, children of less than 20.
But so those were always. That was a fun time, sitting around with a bunch of guys watching.
Yeah, nothing better than that.
But to us, it was crazy. It was fun.
Yeah.
Way better than watching Porky's on, you know,
Frame by frame.
Frame by frame.
Pause, unpause, pause, unpause.
And I love Porky's. But so we did that. And as far as snacks, to this day, I still kind of bring those snacks into the Saturday morning sleepovers we do. It was always Twizzlers with me. We had Twinkies. Because of my grandma, I made sure there were always Pringles there. But I would say Doritos were my big sleepover food. Doritos. Like
probably the best chip ever made.
It was just I don't know. They tasted so good.
Yeah.
And my go-to Dorito was the Cool Ranch Dorito.
Oh, no.
I love the Cool Ranch. Yep.
That did sweep the nation when it came out, but I am so
it swept
loyal.
Swept his nation.
I'm so loyal to the nacho ones.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we had. But then when Cool Ranch hit, it was like, you know.
Oh, yeah. It was
a sensation of being.
Yeah. And that's, again, what we're talking about. Well, but that's, again, what we're talking about when things were new. How many kids do you know today get excited about a chip?
Yeah.
Okay, but back in the day when Doritos was such a beautiful staple of our lives, and then one day they were like, hey, here's a new flavor, and our minds were blown. How many times can you say that this happens today? It doesn't.
Well, the Cool Ranch Dorito taco.
Well, that was the only time that happened. But
I mean,
but today it's like, oh, the iPhone 9 and 10 are out. That blows my mind. But back then it was we got our minds blown about a chip.
I mean, I still do. You know, and I think a lot of us big kids who grew up in that time kind of see new things on the shelves and are kind of like, ooh, You know, like a chip or a cookie or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still kind of go a little goo-goo for Oreos, you know? Like, ooh, what's this new flavor?
Well, I feel like in the 80s it was a lot of let's just throw stuff into the wall and see what sticks.
And it
you
stuck
know?
because we were all sponges for this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever they were putting out, we were taking. I mean, when we do our food episode,
I can't wait.
I mean,
That's a show I can't wait for.
There's and I won't give it away, but there is a very we're gonna eat, but there is a very special, and we're gonna bring back Like I Totally Remember This to You segment for our food show, and there's a food out there that is such a blast from the past. I remember eating it once, like back in 1986, and when it first came out, again, it blew our minds. If it came out, it probably exists today, and we just don't care about it. But anyway, that's Sleepovers, man.
Well, I mean, listen, I still did it.
Well, not only did it,
but I mean, like into my teens.
Well, right. I mean, yeah. They
I
kept
actually
going.
did. I did it, and then because the movies got a little more evolved and stuff, it was actually the gang would come over, we'd shoot a bunch of stuff, and then it just became a sleepover. And here's something that's fun. I had a horror clubhouse in the backyard.
Oh my.
So the sleepovers started in the bedroom, but ended in that horror clubhouse.
You'd sleep outside.
And we'd sleep in the clubhouse, and we'd have a TV and VCR out there, and everything was covered in horror.
Oh
Awesome.
I mean, there was horror everything. The clubhouse is still in my backyard. I don't even want to open that thing now, because I don't know what it looks like.
Snakes and
I don't
spiders.
know what creatures are in there.
There's a raccoon.
I
just
can't
living in
even, you know, and there's that part of me that's like, oh, but there might be some, like, really awesome crap from my childhood that's still in there, that's sitting there, that could be in my life again.
I'll tell you this right now. Late breaking news, we are going to open that vault.
It's our Geraldo moment.
We are going to open that vault in an upcoming episode of the New 80s Revolution.
Ooh, that might be worth it for a show.
Let me tell you, you did sleepovers into your teens, but you also did sleepovers as recently as yesterday. Let's take a look at what we fondly know and love as the Saturday Night Sleepover hosted by Christopher Seaver. Take a look at a modern 40-year-old sleepover right here.
It's coming!
Ah!
Oh, let's go ask the ladies that he's been with.
He earned it. His glove earned
Hey, everybody, and welcome. Chris Tansky here. Chris Seaver here. Oh, and I'm gonna do this. Flip it. Oh, look at this guy. Party! Clint Kelly. Oh, we got Chad Ecto. Hello, lovelies.
Whoa! Carrie and her pet monster. Oh my gosh.
So, okay, guys, this is Saturday night movie sleepover. We usually do Saturday morning sleepover, which is like an 8 to 14 hour marathon of nothing but 80s television, cartoon, and commercials. But tonight I wanted to flip it on its wig. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing back-to-back 80s trash picks, but good stuff. So bad they're good. So we just finished.
So bad they're rad.
That's right. So bad they're rad. You guys remember that? Okay, so we're going from this movie into our next film.
What is it?
What is it? It is the 1986 classic Never Too Young to Die. Are you fucking kidding me? Starring John Stamos as Stargrove, the amazing James Bondian spy who's got to fight the hermaphroditic evil master, Gene Simmons.
Oh no! Say that twice. That's right. So you guys ready?
Yeah. Born ready.
My boner is so hot right now.
Brad Austin, Nicole, and then Jason Knupp are showing up as well. So it's gonna be good.
Shit!
It's gonna be real hot. Look at all those snacks.
We're
gonna get.
Yeah, we got snacks.
We're gonna get in that snack.
We got that snack.
When did we get snacks?
Just now. We got Chris's beard. Things are going crazy here.
Oh.
All right, guys. We'll be back. Oh shit.
Because we'll just bring in more people.
Okay, we just finished the second movie, folks. Oh, Jason! Hey! Nicole! My God, Nicole! What are you doing?
Did you just get here too?
A little
She's
bit.
been here literally the entire time you have.
Oh.
No.
She walked in right with you.
Oh, that's right. That was you.
I was in the passenger seat.
She rode by on her skateboard.
All right, so we just finished the John Stamos, Gene Simmons classic, Never Too Young to Die.
Classic.
What are your thoughts, Carrie?
I don't even know where to begin. I have never seen this gem, and just to know that it exists, my heart is happy.
I definitely looked over, and you looked ready to kill yourself. How about you, Chad?
I'm embarrassed that movie exists.
No, you
It was.
loved it.
You know what?
Someone
it was
who's
fun.
wearing a Cannon shirt.
Yeah, I know. So what does that tell you? I'm wearing a Cannon shirt, and I'm embarrassed by that.
All right. You thought it was great, didn't you,
Whoa!
Jason?
Jason's here.
Cinematography was off a little bit. John Stamos' mullet was sexy.
Say it like you're Napoleon Dynamite and like squint your eyes while you're doing it.
Oh. That's all I got.
Nicole loved it.
She wants out. I'm gonna go get some chicken wing dip.
It was just so bad. It was
I don't know.
That movie is one of those movies where I can just be like,
What about
"Oh,
you?"
I saw it."
Classic. I want to
Yeah?
see it again. I'm serious. No, that was awesome.
Yeah, you want to own that?
That was a fun movie. That was fun.
All right.
It was
so,
I just can't believe that.
It exists.
What's that? What's next?
what's next?
Yeah.
Stargrove!
Well, I don't know how
That's
many.
the opening act. I can't wait to get to that.
No, we saw Breaking 2 first. Then it was this.
So we're getting better then.
Yeah.
I don't. That's
Well,
debatable.
you're being very generous with that word.
Okay, so this is a 1989 sex comedy. Yes. Produced by Charles Band.
Oh no. What?
So. Let's see what you guys think of this gem.
Is it truly outrageous?
Cool video. Did the Puppet Master go to spring break? Did I miss that?
Oh no!
I have definitely never seen that.
I remember the cover.
Who is she?
It's Landers.
That's Dr. Alien.
She was,
Yeah, don't you know?
she's only in my favorite television show of all time.
Yeah, it's Julie Landers.
What is it? Look at the.
Do we get some twin magic in
I'm
this?
standing right here next to her.
All the Scream Queens are in this.
No.
The 80s Scream Queens.
No.
Dr. Alien.
Sex comedy, bro. Sex comedy.
It's like Dr. Fad.
Yes. I like it already.
What'd you call me?
So, Clint, we just finished Dr. Alien. What are your thoughts? This is probably, what, your 100th time?
Yeah, I've seen this a few times. It's
Thanks
great.
to me.
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
You and me are probably the only people genuinely who like that movie.
I want a Bluray
I-
of it.
Oh, I
you know?
love it. Yeah, Sarah, you like
Well,
it?
I'm 38 years old and I still have a crush on Billy Jacoby, so that worked for me.
So if you're watching this, David Dakota, you know, put this sucker out on Blu-ray.
That's
We
right.
you
Oh,
have a couple fans that will definitely buy it.
How about you, Chad?
So 2 fans won't.
It's. Yeah, that was
He
a great
loved
movie.
it.
I loved it.
All
I did.
right.
I gotta be honest. That was kind of. I liked it.
How about you two?
It was good,
I like
actually.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys liked it too?
Honesty is a good policy, guys.
Thoughtful and.
Crisp?
Very poignant for today's generation.
I'm sure, Brad, you loved it, all right?
I guess.
You came at the perfect time.
Yeah. Right between movies.
You guys notice more people
I like,
show up at the end of these movies?
How about
They're waiting.
How about you? Did you sleep through the whole thing?
No,
Jason?
I would watch that again voluntarily.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was all right.
Alone?
Killing machine!
No pants?
Alone with no pants at all. No, like I am now.
And you loved it too, Katie, did you?
Sure.
You loved those 10 minutes you saw?
Yeah, I like
Well,
the
what you really love
Song.
is Killer Machine.
Killing machine!
Sure.
You need that song when you're on the treadmill and we're all working out, we're sweating, listening to Killer Machine, right?
Killing machine!
All with that.
All right.
Dream Warriors.
All right, next up. So, we got an action drama
Harley Davidson.
from 1987 or a horror movie from 1983.
Horror movie.
Horror.
You will not be disappointed.
Terror Bear. Terry Bear.
I would
Horror.
vote for the action.
I'm always down for some horror.
Action, yeah.
Because I know what it is.
You gotta get a show of hands then.
Split.
Yeah, Clint's the only one who knows what all the movies are.
Boo Earns.
Boo.
What?
Say Boo Earns.
Boo earns.
Are they saying boo or boo earn?
I like that.
Okay, I don't know.
Alright, well, let's do a hand vote. Who votes for the action movie?
Well, this is pretty split down the middle, isn't it?
How about action?
I mean, I don't know.
Action drama?
Action. We're gonna see them all.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna see them all, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter to me.
I am gonna play them both.
Yeah.
But one of them, one of them stars.
Sure. Yeah, you're new.
Okay, one of them stars Emilio Estevez.
All right.
The other one stars Sean Astin and Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I know that one then. I don't have time for this shit. I love you, Chris. I would fuck you right now, but I can't deal with these.
You will not
Nightmares. I thought you were gonna say I would not regret fucking
River
Chris.
City Ransom? Oh,
Yes, the Nintendo classic.
River City Ransom.
River City
Whitewater
Ransom.
Adventure. I'm kind of interested in that Sean Astin and Kevin Bacon movie.
Now the world don't move.
God, I hate you so much.
You barely reacted though. You just kind of.
I was disappointed by that.
Nothing. That's why I stopped.
I think I jumped more than she did. I knew.
Ah, my chocolatey Cocoa Pebbles.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Rook.
Rock who?
Rook Boss. To clean up your act.
Can you clean up this place?
Stand back.
Oh, no, not my Cocoa Pebbles.
Cocolicious.
Barney, you tricked me out of my pebbles.
Time for a clean getaway.
Those cocoa or fruity pebble cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast. Yabba dabba delicious.
An experiment fails, creating a strange new race, the Sectors. Leading the forces of good is night-fighting Dargon with his telebonded glow-in-the-dark insectoid Parafly. An invisible warrior that flies night missions and launches surprise attacks against evil Sectors. In the continuing battle for survival.
You can collect night-fighting Dargon and all the warriors, each pair sold separately.
Sectors by Coleco.
Oh, it was so fun, Jason.
Not only did you
I think
see,
you were there.
Well, I was there. I may not have woke up there, but I was there. And not only did you see the glorious 40-something-year-old man and women, children, Saturday sleepover, you caught a whole bunch of cool commercials too.
That's right.
But we're back. We're back. 3 dudes on a couch, and wow, you got some vidges up here. We got some VHS tapes because we're going to now talk about the lost concept of renting a movie,
which went hand in hand.
Well, yeah, I mean,
with sleepover.
You have a sleepover, you're going to rent yourself a movie because, again, like we've talked about in previous episodes, cable television was not, in everybody's home back then.
I had cable.
Well, I mean, he was living the dream.
I had cable at 8 years old, but not everybody did, and if they did, you only had maybe one movie. You had HBO, and if there wasn't a show on HBO, then you had to go get yourself a movie, and you could only go get yourself a movie from a video rental store, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Our memories, our patterns of rental, what did the video store mean to us?
Do you know what we're talking about, children?
Video rental.
It was a brick and mortar place that you would go to.
There was no streaming.
This one's actually still sealed.
Oh, that's sealed. There was no
That's a sealed one.
Netflix. You had to get up, get dressed, get in the car, and go to
Large cassettes.
If you look, then you put them in here
in
like
that
so.
thing.
You just
Go to a building and rent one of these things, right? And
you had to talk to somebody.
You had to talk
You
to
had to
somebody.
They might have given you advice. They might have talked to you about the film, the director, whatever.
You didn't need advice. You know why? Because you had the back of the box.
And here's the best part too. If there was a movie that you weren't sure about, or is this any good or anything?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't just Google it on your phone.
No.
You'd be lucky if they had a video hound.
yeah.
Look like 3 Bibles stacked on top of each other.
I thought you were going to say we didn't need Google in video stores because we had the pics of the video store.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Employees.
Yes.
Well, there was that.
Employees
Oh
pics.
yeah, certainly. There was
So-
the wall of the poster that said
Yeah.
new releases.
Chris's pics, Jason's pics, Clint's pics, if you will.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
So, just like we did with Sleepovers, I'm sure we've collected some memories of renting some videos of our local mom and pop video stores.
Hasn't left.
Clint, lead us off, man.
The video store was my home, and the closest video store to me was a Blockbuster Video in Long Reach Shopping Center in
my.
Columbia, Maryland, and it was a very small Blockbuster, but it was 5 minutes away from my house. I went there so much that the manager knew me, knew my grandmother, and eventually my grandmother didn't even have to come in for me to rent R-rated tapes.
Ooh.
They just knew me, and they knew my grandmother would be okay with it.
Hello, Porkies.
So, I don't know, back in the day as a kid, I very rarely rented comedies. Horror was always, and still is, my #1 obsession for movies. But the one moment that it's been burned into my mind of my greatest video store rental of all time was a series of comedy films that we actually have one of them right here. The Police Academy films.
Yeah.
There was one night where my grandmother just said, whatever you want, you can go and get. I rented every single Police Academy film that night and watched them in one sitting. Just back to back.
Well, that's like all day and into like lunch the next day.
No, it was late. I went in the evening. It went into night.
Yeah.
It went into crazy hours, and I watched every single Police Academy movie in one sitting. I don't know why, but I always liked the, the hand-drawn
Drew
Struzan Police Academy covers. And, renting as a kid, that was a big thing. The covers.
Oh, for sure.
Here we have Friday the 13th. I actually have a huge poster of this cover hanging in my room. You couldn't beat the covers. No. And sometimes the movie would absolutely be abysmal. But the cover was a work of art, like Da Vinci just drew this beautiful cover of an exploding head or something on it. That was always the #1.
That's where they spent the most of their money.
Drawing point. So the Police Academies the Police Academies were one that I rented all in one night.
We love it.
I was telling Chris on a car ride yesterday that the Sleepaway Camps were another one that I remember seeing the covers for, and Sleepaway Camp 3, which we could bring up, show a picture right here, was one of my favorite covers, and you can see as a young man why this one was one of my favorite covers. I remember renting Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time and just being like, my sensibilities as a child just absolutely smashed, like, holy crap.
I know, what a piece of shit.
This is like one of the craziest movies.
Don't freak out. I just don't like the first
Lost
one.
a subscriber.
I rented all the Halloween movies. And then once I rented every single movie that I could watch that I ever wanted to see multiple times from that Blockbuster, we went to another Blockbuster that was down the road, maybe about 5 more minutes down the road. And they were twice as big of a store, and their horror selection was like nothing I've ever seen before. I had ever seen before in my entire life, and that's when I got to discover more of the B League slasher movies, like Madman. And I mean, it's not a B League movie. This is actually one of my favorite movies of all time, The Burning. That I discovered there. Just all of these, lower tier movies, and then going to like mom and pop stores. Like I was telling Chris a story. We went to a different Safeway, which is a food store up in Maryland, where I'm from.
Wow.
We went to a different Safeway one time for whatever reason. There was a mom and pop store there, and I remember renting Frankenweenie from them, the original Tim Burton short. I keep referencing Tim Burton. He had a huge impact on my childhood with his movies when I was a kid. The Tim Burton short film Frankenweenie on VHS I remember renting.
Yeah,
and then,
this is not the newer movie,
No,
folks.
no.
This was the short film that Tim Burton did.
Yes.
Frankenweenie, before it became a movie in the 2000s or whatever.
And then as I got older, you just going to different video stores everywhere, going to Hollywood Video when I was older, and just discovering.
Was this like a ritual with your buddies? Right?
With my most of the time it was just me binging movies that I liked. But for sleepovers, yes. I mean, me and my friend, it was just like the same thing you were describing. Me and my friend, and unlike Chris, I never really had group sleepovers. My sleepovers were pretty much always one-on-one. And most of the time it was with my buddy, Shane. And so we would go to Blockbuster, and just like you guys, we would have one movie that we'd both want to watch, and we'd both get that. Or later in life with my buddy like Eric, his dad would take us to Blockbuster, and we would each get one-on-one movie, and we'd watch them. And so yeah, it was good times, and I discovered a lot of. It led to my obsession with terrible horror movies.
Me too.
So one of the movies that I remember renting was a movie called Sledgehammer.
Oh yeah,
which I would go on to buy the rights for and end up releasing on DVD.
That's right. The reason that movie is on DVD is because of this dude right here.
Wow.
So a lot of these trash, regional horror films I ended up discovering through these mom and pop stores that I would go to. Most of the time I'd go to Blockbuster. Every once in a while I'd go to the mom and pop. We had one called Dobbin Video, which was on Dobbin Road, right down the street from where our Walmart, it actually used to be a Kmart, then turned into a Walmart. Dobbin Video, we would go there, and they'd have a lot of good, I've never seen them. A few of the lesser titles. I feel like Blockbuster didn't really carry a lot of like the indie, VHS release. You'd
they
have
didn't
to go.
do it until late 90s.
I remember renting Death Spa with Ken Foree at one of my all-time favorites, and I know we share this love for it, Garbage Pail Kids. Garbage Pail Kids I rented from Blockbuster, taped it off of the TV.
Oh, I mean, we did that all the time.
Yeah, we would tape stuff off of the TV. And my Blockbuster, though, the Garbage Pail Kids VHS was messed up. So there would be like a minute that I would that was like, it would skip over for whatever reason, a minute of the video.
So when did you finally see that?
It was years later. It was years later. It was right before the scene where Dodger and Tangerine go to sell Tangerine's clothes outside of the club.
Yeah.
So it's just like a conversation that they have in their car as they're driving to the club. But I had never seen that footage until I was like a teenager, and I bought the VHS copy from another Blockbuster that was just selling, because they're getting rid of their VHS and making room for their DVDs. And I bought their copy of Garbage Pail Kids, and it had that minute that I missed ever since I was a kid. So,
what a discovery!
Yeah,
it's like a deleted scene.
Exactly. It was the most worthless scene. It didn't matter at all to the plot.
Yeah.
But it was cool to finally see this minute that I was missing.
That's awesome. Wow.
So I love, needless to say, I love video stores. I worked at video stores for most of my adult life. I was the manager of a Hollywood Video. Video stores were special to me. I wouldn't be who I was without the glow of the neon open sign of a video store.
I mean, you guys are both, on a different level than me when it comes to, movies and your interest in movies and your history with movies. So I'm coming at it from from like the casual fan. I mean, but again, movies and sleepovers, as we've said, go hand in hand. So again, it was getting somebody's dad to take us to Blockbuster, because there were mom and pop video stores, of course. I mean, they existed before the Blockbusters. I mean, the mom and pop video store started the whole thing, which you may see in a few minutes. But it was about getting the parent to take us to the store, and it might be a surprise for you guys to know, but I was a big wrestling fan. And so, yeah, I know. So, yeah, we would, it's true. We would go for a movie, but in the mid to late 80s, 86, 87, wrestling videos started being like, probably behind horror, like the number one seller or renter in video shops, because pay-per-view back then was a rare concept. I mean, people had it, but it was not what it is today. There was no WWE network.
Still hate that WWE.
Oh, I know, it's horrible to say.
Yeah, I refer to it as WWF.
Of course, it's WWE. It'll always be WWF. but those shows, those big super cards, were not available. So, for us to go into a video store, and for me, it wasn't always Blockbuster. It was actually Wegmans, and Wegmans is a massive grocery chain in our region. In fact, it started
born here in Rochester.
Yeah, I mean, it started here in Rochester, but it's sweeping the whole East Coast and beyond. I mean,
came to Columbia, Maryland, where I'm from.
It's a massive grocery chain.
It's probably the best grocery store.
Yeah, but back in the 80s, they got into the video rental market as well.
Did they? I didn't know that.
And so they had...
I got stories, too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They had a whole wrestling section, and my grandma worked at Wegmans. So I could call her up and go, I need WrestleMania 2. And she would bring home WrestleMania 2, and I would literally watch that thing back to back to back to back. And, of course they were part of the sleepover.
And I will say, I'm a wrestling fan too. So I didn't mention that either. I would get the wrestling tapes as well. And I cleaned out I watched every single one. I remember King of the Ring, renting all I could of what they had for King of the Ring Royal Rumbles.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was a company back in the 80s called Coliseum Home Video, which released all of these mega wrestling events. We, of course, horror, I got introduced to horror through cable, which I've told that story a bunch of times, but so my parents were divorced, and when my dad would get us on the weekend, he'd pick us up, and the first stop that we would make would be a video store. But he had other stuff going on, so he was like, you guys, me and my two sisters, he'd be like, you guys get your movies, see you tomorrow. And so we would just rent whatever cover looked at. And you said Sleepaway Camp 3.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp 2 for me, because that was the cover that had the girl with the Jason
Freddy,
and the Freddy.
Yes. So, and the chainsaw.
Yeah. So
and
she's got the chainsaw, the Freddy glove, and the Jason mask all in her backpack, and I was like, what? All three of them are in this movie? I must get this.
Yeah.
And so at 10 or 11 years old, by myself, I'm watching Sleepaway Camp 2, which there are still some adult scenes in that movie that stand out in my mind. I was exposed to some stuff pretty early on. Like, what am I watching? But
love it. Love Sleepaway Camp 2.
Yeah, Sleepaway Camp 2 was a supercharged, sex horror movie, and I'm watching it at 11, and I'm loving every freaking second of it. So, definitely some exposure to some horror movies. Video stores are special to me. My dad and I, we would watch Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. We would watch Steven Seagal movies. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time still is Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal, and Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, they're just two of my favorite movies.
I love Kickboxer.
Yeah, because I would sit there and watch them. Like, of course, my dad and I would watch them, and then he'd go to bed, and I would watch them again because I just loved those movies. So those hold a special spot. I remember the first, maybe this isn't officially, but in my memory, the first two videos I ever rented, we had in one neighborhood I lived in, we did have a mom and pop store that was in walking distance. And for some reason, they gave a membership card to a 10-year-old. And I would consistently rent WrestleMania 1 and A Christmas Story. And I would be watching A Christmas Story.
Great double feature.
Yeah. I would watch A Christmas Story in August. And,
Oh, yeah.
And like think it was the greatest movie of all time in August. So, video stores.
Yeah, Godzilla was another thing that video stores really got me into. Our fantasy sci-fi section was pretty much Godzilla movies back at the OG Blockbuster that I had. There wasn't a lot of, they didn't have a lot of stuff in that sci-fi section, but they had almost every single Godzilla movie, and I remember watching them all and just falling in love. I used to do, I don't know if you guys ever used to do this, but I used to pretend fight. I used to like pretend that I was Godzilla and I would fight the monsters and stuff. I used to, and like, you know, a little bit 90s, more 90s, but Power Rangers was stuff like I used to pretend I was a Power Ranger and fight stuff, but that started with Godzilla. I used to pretend I was Godzilla and I'd be fighting a monster, and I'd like when I'd punch, I'd act like I took the hit myself, you know, and I'd jump in the air. But Godzilla was something that all spawned from rentals at the video store.
Do you have any idea what Power Rangers are? I don't. I've never heard of Power Rangers.
I'd like not to, but
I got a feeling you have some pretty special video store memories.
I mean, how long do we got? We got about 3 hours. All right,
9 minutes. Oh my God!
That was my memories crashing down upon us.
See how excited he gets? That wasn't his knee.
Again, like Clint, very similar. The video store was like a second home. And again, like Clint, they knew me.
Yeah.
At the video
Hi,
store.
Chris.
Yes, for different reasons. One, because I was a crazy fan and I always bugged them. And two, I always asked to shoot in the store.
Oh.
To shoot my movies and bring the costumed freaks in there
wow.
and kind of go nuts. But the video thing actually started out at our local grocery store. Growing up, very small town of Wellsville, New York, our grocery store was giant. It was called Giant.
Yeah, we had a giant.
It's not Giant Eagle or anything like that.
No, we
it's
had
just straight up Giant.
Yeah, in Maryland we have Giant.
It was tiny.
It was. I mean, you know.
It's still there, right?
In Wellsville?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there. But that's where I first started renting videos. Until the awesome magic and majesty of Video Connection showed up. So, like I said, when we would have sleepovers, be it the cousins, be it the friends, we would ransack either Giant or Video Connection, and I mean, it was one of those things where every video store had one of those deals where rent 5, you know, get them for 5 nights or whatever it was, and it really wasn't that expensive, you know.
No.
I mean, if your family or whatever like gave you $10 or whatever and said go nuts, you know, half would be for movies and half would be for snacks. But anyway, so I didn't know of Blockbuster. All I knew of Blockbuster was the commercials I would see on TV.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what is this place?
Yeah.
You know? I actually didn't step foot into a Blockbuster video probably until 1999.
Oh my God.
Because we had Video Connection.
Didn't they close then?
No.
There's also something special about that, though. You know?
Oh, for me it was.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, you could see the difference.
Yeah.
I certainly did. Growing up with nothing but mom and pop, and then walking into something as corporate and giant as Blockbuster, it was different.
Wasn't that their tagline? Oh, what a difference.
Well, yeah, but
that was Toyota.
As much as the Blockbuster people were trained to get in your face, talk to you, make it about the movie, all that stuff, there was a disconnect from the mom and pop people
I agree with that,
to the corporate people.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So anyway, Video Connection, this place was a mecca for me. Certainly because of my movie making. This store had everything. And I'm talking like shot on VHS horror movies.
Yeah.
This was monumental to me. And this is the stuff that a lot of my friends who would sleep over absolutely hated.
Oh yeah, it's not.
They
not,
just could not wrap their head
Yeah.
around seeing a movie look so bad.
Sure.
You know, basically like, it looks like Chris shot it in his backyard.
They weren't Splatter
You know?
Farm fans?
And then you did.
My friends?
No, they didn't like any young Polonio work?
No, it was all me. Because I was like, but guys, this is what we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
obviously, they were better. They had a budget, but it was still shot on VHS. So to this little filmmaker, this was like blowing my mind that this stuff was in video stores. But that came a little later. The go-to videos were always horror and were always sex comedies for me and my cousins and our friends. And again, a lot of these movies I saw in theaters. Like I saw with uncles or my mom or things like that. So I would see a Police Academy movie in a theater, and then just a little bit later, I'd be renting that Police Academy movie over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
And Police Academy movie is one. Those Police Academy films are one of those films, VHS like memories that me, my friends, everybody like. And it was constantly, but it was always 1 through 4, 1 through 4, 1 through 4. Like those were the Police Academy movies for me. I saw Police Academy 5 in the theater, and I was disgusted.
You were appalled.
I was appalled. I was like, this is not my Police Academy. It was over. We lost Mahoney. We lost like the charm and the magic. To hell with it. So as far as I'm concerned,
it was no.
No, as far as I'm concerned, after 4, Police Academy doesn't even exist. So, but I mean, it was through these magical times where our young minds would be blown away by RoboCop.
Preach on it.
Yeah. You know? Again, the Porky's trilogy.
Gremlins.
Oh my God, Gremlins, yes. The first VHS we ever owned as a family was Back to the Future.
The first VHS, as we'll find out in a little bit, that swept the nation. Back to the Future.
I remember going to Disney World and just seeing a stack of Back to the Future tapes that they were selling in Disney World.
Yeah.
Or was it? No, it was Universal Studios.
Yeah, probably promoting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like classics, people. Classics as they were coming out for the first time for home video. So stuff like Revenge of the Nerds and the airplane films and all that stuff. The stuff that my uncles and my mom got me hooked on. The Monty Python films. Yes, Revenge of the Nerds. Geez, what else? Oh, Lost Boys. You know, all that stuff. Adventures in Babysitting. Oh my God, I had such a crush on Elizabeth Shue. The Critters films.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, my gosh, yes. Like, this was the prime time, folks. We had it all at our fingertips.
Intangible. Look,
Yeah.
you can touch the stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
You don't get this experience from today's, way of watching movies. I mean, this was 40% of the experience.
Yeah.
Was having this thing in your hands.
As the time went on, we started doing themed sleepovers that were directly related to the film that we were getting. So there would be a Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child themed sleepover party. Or we'd have an Ernest Saves Christmas sleepover party. And it became where, like, as I said, they knew me, so I would have everything awesome reserved for me. And they knew, this one, no, you can't get this one because Chris has this one on reserve.
Wow.
So I'd get in there, and not only did they do that for me, but they would save the posters or the standees for me because otherwise they just threw them out. So instead they'd be like, Chris, we got, you can finally take your, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 poster home, or whatever it was. Young Guns, you can take your Young Guns poster. I was obsessed with the Young Guns films as well, folks. But So yeah, so like that whole reservation thing was always great because, like, as I said, certain movies would be like, oh my god, this is coming out in March. Oh, you gotta put me down, you know? Like, you gotta. This is so I would be like, guys, the theme for this sleepover, whatever it was. So
That's
now,
amazing.
I had a question. Was there ever a video that was there at the store that you saw like the cover for? So back at Blockbuster and a lot of mom and pops, you would see the cover, but it would just be filled with styrofoam, and then behind it would be the brown
the tape. It was always behind it.
Yeah, so you would never rent the cover. You would always just rent they'd have it in their own case. Was there ever one that was the cover was always there, but the tape was never behind it? So it was like you're sought after. I have one.
I'm sure there were. Certainly, like. I mean, I certainly remember getting bummed at certain films.
Yeah.
Going in there and be like, again? It's gone again? It was probably Amazon Women on the Moon or something
Faces
like
of
that.
Death.
That's Amazon Women on the Moon is one of those movies I rented over and over and over again. Until I learned how to dupe.
Yeah.
Until we got 2 VCRs, and I just started duping these damn things.
We called them dubbing in our household.
Well, yeah, we duped it. We duped it, and what I started to do was make my own covers.
Ooh.
I would draw out of cardboard and glue them together and make my own VHS covers because I didn't have them until one day, going into Video Connection, the guy behind the counter goes, hey, we're going to throw out some of these covers, Chris. Do you want them?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes! So that became, like, anytime I knew that movie was getting phased out, I was like, I've got that movie. Give me that cover, So they started giving me the covers, too. So a lot of the films that I still have on VHS are the same films that I got from Video Connection.
It's awesome.
Like my Fright Night and Monster Squad. Things like that. The Fangoria Weekend of Horrors
is from Video Connection.
It's from Video Connection.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
So yeah, all of this, of course. I mean, it was Friday, Saturday nights, video renting. It fueled my imagination for filmmaking. Like, I ended up, going into my late teens and early adults. I ended up working with a lot of the people the films that I was watching growing up. They suddenly were like my boss, and I was making movies for these people, and it was just, it's always been so special to me, and sadly, it is a dying.
Oh, but
yeah,
it's not dead.
It's not dead quite yet.
No, you know of a particular one that is very famous, Scarecrow.
Scarecrow, yeah, I was at. I went.
He got to go there.
I went to Seattle last year for one of my best friend's weddings, and I didn't really want to go anywhere. My girlfriend had all these places which I was happy to go to, but there was one place that I was like, I only want one place that I want to go to in Seattle, and that's Scarecrow Video. And when I'm telling you, my breath was taken away. It's amazing. The store is stunning. 2 floors, filled, wall to wall, with movies.
Wow. Yeah, and it's going, and it's thriving.
It
is a famous place. Like, I don't think that place is ever going to close.
I surely hope not.
It's an institution.
Well, that a place like that can survive is such a. It's so refreshing in 2018, but. That might be in Seattle.
Yeah.
But right here in upstate New York, in Rochester, New York, and more specifically in Webster, New York, we were able to hunt down.
Well,
I
mean, I've known about.
No, we were able
several times.
We hunted
but sure,
it down.
Yes, we got out there. We got our feet on the grindstone.
We knocked on doors and we found the final, last mom and pop video store in our area, and we are going to show you guys what this place is all about. Join us as we interview Karen at Village Mall Video. Check it out. What a great time right here.
Are you sure they can see this? Is this?
They're about to see it.
Is this legal?
Right now.
Oh, it's all legal.
Here we go. Right now.
Maybe. You'll find it right here, folks. And it's going in right now.
Right now. Hey guys, it's the New 80s Revolution. It's Chris Seaver, it's Jason Up, and we're here with Karen from Village Mall Video in Webster, New York, a town, a suburb of Rochester, New York, Monroe County. Basically, we're standing in the very last mom and pop video store in this area, and what an honor it is to be here. We've been asked, we weren't asked. We asked to come out and take a look at this place and talk to this lady and find out all about the decade that we love the most. That's the 1980s. Right here, take a look at this place. You're going to get some footage of this a little later. If anything screams 1985, it's this place right here.
I can hear it screaming now. Help me. Save me. Save me from the modern era.
What are we doing here?
We're going to interview Karen here and talk to her about this lovely establishment. I got some questions for you. I lied. They are hard-hitting, so you better have some great answers.
We're bringing them to her now.
Actually, so, Karen, when did you start this business?
1980-ish.
1980-ish.
80-ish. That's our favorite time of life. How did this thing get started? Back in this era, early 80s, this whole video store, this whole movies at home thing took off. Did you just jump on and ride the popularity, or did you how did this idea come to you?
We owned the building, and we were kind of renting other shops, and this place was a church, and nobody really wanted to remodel the whole thing. So I thought, what can we do with it? So we ended up saying, okay, we'll go into the beta and the VHS business.
And here we are.
I mean, in that time, I would assume, everyone sort of knows that it was the boom.
Yeah.
So, I can't imagine, you guys must have did like great business through the 80s. Even in the 90s, pretty much probably up until the dreaded streaming and video on demand and all that modern stuff.
What was this place like on a Saturday night in 1986?
I would have like 6 people behind the counter, and the customers would be lining up getting their movies.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. You kept all the popular releases, obviously. How quickly did you learn how to, deal with the companies and deal with the businesses and order in the product? How did you learn what was popular, what people wanted?
It was fun. It was so fun. Getting to know all the different companies and that, it was just so fun. You just kind of got into it and figured it out. It was kind of easy.
Did you go to those trade shows?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. All the time.
Man.
All the time.
Just hearing about it, I wish I was a part of it.
Trade show.
Yeah.
You weren't even born.
Well, I was born in '77.
Well,
but I was a tiny lad. I was reaping the benefits. I was reaping the benefits of your work, everybody's work.
I was and am a huge 80s wrestling fan. Do you remember that boom?
Oh, yes.
People were running in here for the latest wrestling release.
Definitely.
Was that a big part of your business?
Yes, a big part of it.
What about Nintendo? Did you?
Yes, we did. Well, actually, we did Nintendo, Odyssey.
Oh, wow.
Bailey. We had a whole section over here that people can try out the games.
Oh,
no kidding.
So that was before you could go to Wegmans and buy an expensive game.
Yeah.
You could come here.
So you had consoles set up with TVs where kids could play.
Oh. Yes. And adults.
What about coin-op?
No.
No. Didn't do the arcade games.
No.
A video store where you could sit down and play Super Mario 3 before renting it. That's amazing.
That's so familiar. Now, I would imagine I have here like your most rented. Oh, here's one for today. how many VHS rentals do you get? Do people still, or is it more about they want to come in and just buy the tapes from you?
Actually, I have one on hold right now.
Yeah?
For rent.
For rent.
For rent?
Yes.
See, that's
So not only are they renting it, but they called ahead to hold it.
That's
Easy
good to
rider.
hear. Look at that, folks. That's great. That's good to hear. Now, is that a common thing or it's spotty throughout the months?
Spotty. It's
Yeah.
like, she wanted it on DVD, and I said, well, I have it on VHS. It's like, well, she has a machine, might as well use it.
That's great.
It's the only way to watch it.
That's great. I was gonna say, I would imagine the horror genre was a big deal as well. It certainly was for me growing up. That was primarily what I went out and rented as a little kid. And to this day, you get those rabid horror fans coming in here wanting to pick your place dry.
Oh, yes.
I was probably one of them.
They come from all around the country.
Right, because you're one of the only ones left.
Personally, for you, do you have a favorite 1980s film?
Oh, there were so many. I know. There were a lot of family movies. People would come in, for a family. You started to say about what was the most rented movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what it would be? It's a family movie.
80s movie?
E.T., Back to the Future.
Back to the Future?
Okay.
Yes.
The #1 rented movie at Village Mall Video.
That was actually the first VHS our family ever bought for the VCR. Was Back to the Future.
But we had a whole shelf of beta and VHS of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Because they were always out.
Yeah.
How were sales back then? Not rental sales, but did people back then come in and pay $79.95 for a VHS tape?
No.
It was all in rental.
No. At Christmas time, people would buy a few here and there, And there again, it was fun for me to find all the companies to get a hold of those movies, which was really cool. And then when it was a short-lived on stereo. Stereo movies cost $10 extra.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
But that was a very short-lived time.
So along the same lines as pricing, over the last couple of years, there's been sort of a resurgence of interest in VHS tapes. So how many times a week do you have somebody coming in here who thinks that you don't know what you're talking about, and they want all of your VHS tapes for 50 cents each?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes,
and you're able to tell them no. So
Well,
we shouldn't ask her.
I'm
for
sure
that.
you also know what you have,
Yeah.
And they probably are like, she don't know what she's got.
Yeah, but for somebody who's been in the business, for you said 38 years, you kind of get to know your product.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, people come in and say, do you have this movie? And I know in my head, yes or no. All right.
Wow.
So what I do, I say, I'll check, and I'll put the phone down, just pretending, And I'll come back. No, I guess I do. Here it is, Easy Rider. There you go.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm somebody, he's somebody, he is somebody who values tangible things. We still love collecting the things that we had. We still, I see it all the time. The DVD market, the home video market is plummeting, and nobody is buying physical media, but we are, and now there's boutique shops popping up all over the place. Boutique companies catering to people like us who still value physical media. And certainly being a video store that is still standing here to this day, clearly you see there is a value. Your customers see there's a value in physical media. Is that something that you hope might sort of come back? There's fads and people ride like waves. Some things go away, but some things always stay. And I personally think that there still is a want and a need for physical media, for going to some place, picking something out yourself, having it in your hands, taking it home. Do you find that important as well? Obviously, with your store still open.
It's hard, you know. You have a value of all that stuff, you guys. You know, your generation. But the rest of the people, they don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, the people come in, oh, Karen, I'm so happy that you're here. Do they rent or buy or, you know, that anymore? No. Lady was in the other day, you know, her son was here. I just wanted to show you what a VHS, you know, place looked like. Well, we'll come back when we have a movie to come.
Right.
Well, they won't.
No, the reality is they're going to download it on Netflix or stream it, and that's disappointing. So how does this, you know, how do you stay open? How have you survived the last 10 years of everything switching over to, you know, instant gratification streaming as soon as you want it? How have you done this?
I'm here 3 days a week just hoping that people will show up.
That's a sad thing to hear. I'll edit it and make it more happy and powerful.
Yeah, that's not going to be our closing.
But then the whole thing is the adult business.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be a video store, without carpet, without posters and standees, but without that forbidden section over there, fondly known as the 21 and over adult section. How do you do it? How do you stand here and somebody comes in the last 45 seconds that you're open and they bring a stack of big booty babes for you to check out? How do you do that? How do you do that and keep a straight face?
Well, it's probably old hat.
Yes.
And it's like, thank you, come again.
I only want the money in the cash drawer.
Yeah. She don't judge, come on.
All right. Well, I couldn't do it. Maybe I could.
I probably could. I'd have a laugh.
You probably
I'd
Yeah, do you giggle about it after they leave a little bit? We don't want to put that out there, do we?
Sometimes.
Okay, all right. She's protecting her customers right here at Village Mall Video, 75 West Main Street in Webster, New York. So everybody who wants to come check out an authentic, this is not, I don't think, you haven't done much to this place, and I mean that in a really, that's a compliment. You have not you know, tried to modernize or any. I mean, this is modernize. This is an 80s throwback video store. I mean, maybe we could hook the video games back up.
That has to be a thing. You got to do that next time. For all those people who are going to come in and play. You people. Yeah, that's right. Get up off the couch in front of your Netflix eye, plural, and get out and touch some physical media right here at Village Mall Video.
75 West Main Street, Webster, New York. We will give you a tour of the place. You will see what we've seen. We want to say thank you for having two man-children come out and bother you for a few minutes. I've never been out here before. It's an honor to be here. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to come back and rent a movie, because then if I don't, I'll feel bad. But thanks for hanging out with us and asking us questions, and thanks for dodging the porn question. And thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for still being here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sad... My eyes are going to sweat when this place finally goes
But we don't
down.
have to worry
Hopefully
about
that's
that
like 15,
anytime soon,
20,
right?
25, 30 years from now.
That's right. That's right. So
let's keep physical media going, folks.
there it is,
Come on.
guys. Come out again, 75 West Main Street. I know that you're all over the world, but if you want to take a field trip, you want to come out and hang out with us, if you do, this is going to be one of the places that we come, and you're going to buy something, or else you can't come in here. Those are the rules.
Yes. Thank you again.
I'm to put the tail on the donkey! Wrong, Mom. It's time for the Pringles jingle. Huh? Once you taste the flavor, then you get the fever, then you've got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles. Once you taste the fluffer, you need help. Once you taste the flavor, then you get the fever. Then you got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles. Yeah! Once you taste the flavor, it's the deep fried taste. Then you get the fever. It's the crispy crunch. Then you got the fever for the flavor of a Pringle.
Wait till you taste Pringles now.
The evil Rulon shackle the Deinonychus.
Brave Bots are on attack. They're sitting ducks.
Heroic quest star on Diplodocus opens the secret pod.
They're firing on me. Look out for the trap.
Take this, airhead.
The hidden rockets blast the evil Rulon.
We'll meet again, Quest Star.
Diplodocus with motorized walking action, each sold separately.
Dino Riders.
What are you doing?
Saving the future.
But how?
With Captain Power videotape. There are 3 different skill levels. This one's the toughest. Now we can practice anytime with the Power Jet XT7. Score or be hit.
Captain Power videotapes. I don't believe it.
Believe it, large human. The power of the future is in your hands.
Batteries not included. Jets figures and new interactive videotapes each sold separately from Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Karen. Commercials. 2 things back to back that my nostalgia heart just can't take.
When I walked into that video store, and I told her, and you saw it, that I said, you guys have not modernized this place one bit. It had a stinky orange carpet.
It was not modernized.
It was not modernized. It had a semi-shag carpet. Nothing was modernized. The posters were old. That place reeked of beautiful 80s awesomeness.
Yes.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
That
I'm
was a
going to
good
go
time.
back there and get a mask video.
For $400.
I've actually known about the place. I've been there several times throughout the years. I'm glad to see it still standing.
Oh, my God.
Because there was a little bit of me when we were putting the segment together beforehand to get a hold of her. I was like, I wonder if it's still there. Because I hadn't been to, well, we used to always call it Church Mall Video, but I hadn't been there in probably 7 years. So there was a little tinge of fear. I was like, please still be there. Please still be there.
They actually, I knew they existed because they advertise on Craigslist.
Yeah.
She puts up an advertisement on Craigslist every month.
There was also a pretty rad metal store that was in Church Mall.
Metal store?
Metal.
Oh.
Like, it was there for a long time, and then it's gone. And I was sad to see it go. I mean, it was like this. It was probably a room as big as this.
Which is filled with
nothing but metal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
CDs, tapes, albums, everything. I miss it.
So that was a blast. Again, we hope that you've enjoyed we had our special guest, Clint Kelly, here tonight, talking about video stores and talking about sleepovers of the 80s. But we're not done yet.
I've got my jammies on.
Well, yeah, I mean...
And my Jimmy on.
We got to talk about what's coming up.
Furley. Yeah, man.
Are you with us? Are you back?
We got Mr. Furley.
We got to talk about what's going on in the future for the New 80s Revolution. We got to talk about some places that we're going to go.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't show you some toys that we bought.
Yeah.
Because we got some stuff. We got some pickups, if you will. You got a whole big box over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you some of my stuff
guilt
first.
box.
Let me show you what I got first. I don't have a lot to show you.
For a change.
For a change.
Because it's usually this guy who's got the pile of shit.
I have begun the Kenner Real Ghostbusters collection. It has started. It has started.
It's got the Kenner with the pudding.
I heard a joke.
Put it there.
Put it here. I heard a joke. What was the joke? Bill Cosby likes putting it where it don't belong.
Come on now.
No.
Come
good?
on.
I don't know.
Mr. Cosby.
I'm sorry, Chase.
He knows not what he says. 'Cause we know you're watching, Mr. Cosby.
So he is. So we went to RetroCon a while back.
Yeah.
And I bought the Real Ghostbusters Firehouse and the Garbage Man. That was it. That's all I got. Well, that has begun the obsession, if you will. And so I picked up a few items off eBay. I had a few dollars in my PayPal account. And so I was able to grab the elusive, hard to find, $20 Ecto 3 vehicle. Ghost grabber, I guess, with this pretty cool action mechanism. This is about 99% complete. It is missing a couple of stickers and a muffler.
But I went up to Ecto 2. I didn't get the Ecto 3.
That's why it's elusive. But I got this, and it comes with its little grabber ghost here, and I'm glad to add this to the. So again, it's just on now. It's on. I'm off and running with the Ghostbusters collection, and as I'm working through the sort of Ghostbusters Universal Monsters little collaboration, I got Dracula, and unbeknownst to me, this Dracula comes with a cape that I wasn't aware of, but this was only $4 with like free shipping, so I jumped on it, but it didn't come with a cape, and I didn't know he had a cape until I looked a little closer at a carded figure. But I ordered a cape from Yo Joe Collectibles for $5, and so for $9 I'll have a complete real. Are we getting the is it even? Is it being seen?
Yeah.
Can you see what I have here?
We're doing those close-ups. Come on now.
Got me, another Ghostbusters figure. So it's on. The Kenner Real Ghostbusters has leaked into my system, and that is my next obsession. It's on.
I too am going to be collecting Ghostbusters, but it's only going to be the things that I absolutely 100% knew I had. And it probably isn't going to go as far as you're going to go.
Well,
I just can't.
You know
like
how,
one of those roads that just.
Yeah, I mean, you have your own collecting style.
Yeah.
And I have mine. And when I started looking into the real Ghostbusters, I said, I'm going to get the first 4 originals. I'm not going to deal with the Fright features. I'm not going to deal with the super Fright features. Well, I am. Yeah. So my goal, my plan, with exception, I mean, I'm not going to spend ridiculous amounts of money on an item. I don't know if there are high-priced real Ghostbusters items.
There are.
But I might skip those.
There are.
But I'm going to get the Fright features. I'm going to get the super Fright features.
You know what the good thing, though, is that it's not as extensive as, say, G.I. Joe.
Joe. Which
he is gonna
is coming.
Thanks to me.
After the real Ghostbusters, which I realistically, I mean, I'm gonna put a few items up for sale on eBay and hopefully grab a couple $100, and then I'm gonna just go on a little shopping spree.
You could by the summer.
Yeah.
You could probably have almost all that line.
Yeah.
It truly wasn't that bad.
No, by the summer, real Ghostbusters I'd like to complete, and then.
Well. G.I. Joe. I mean, we're going to be in our 5th season, and you're still going to be collecting G.I. Joe.
Christopher! You...
Yeah, we're going to be 50s.
You slobber... What was it?
Slather ass.
You slather ass. You...
Well, Simpleton.
Get me Destro.
Slather ass.
Yeah.
Get off the Davenport.
G.I. Joe's coming. Real Ghostbusters is on and popping, as they say. But you had a big box of goodies over there. What did you buy?
Yeah, okay. This was... I immediately felt guilty about it afterwards. I was actually talking to this guy on the phone. We were texting when I was doing this. And I was like, man, I just kind of blew my paycheck. And I felt pretty bad about it. Because, again, I've talked about it. I don't make a lot of money, folks. And what I do make, I try to give to my wife. Or I buy stuff for pals, for my son, for my wife. I don't do a lot for me. And this was at a point where I've been feeling pretty depressed the last month or so, I would say. I'm still, we've talked about it. I've got some things to go through. And
you want Heineken?
No, I get just... So I got some stuff to work on. Get myself back up to my usual chipper self. I figured, you know what? Gosh darn it. I'm gonna treat myself with much guilt behind it, but I'm gonna treat myself.
That's the best way to do it.
So I pretty much spent most of my paycheck at the time and got a bunch of stuff for moi.
What'd you get?
As you guys know, I have wanted to track down the carded Universal Monster Ghostbuster figures. He got me the first two with the Mummy and Dracula. And here is Frankenstein. Beautiful.
Yeah, very nice card.
Package from KB, of course.
What was that? Did I just see that it said $1.95?
$1.99.
Good God. $1.99.
I paid $20.
Ah.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, $20 is great, but $1.99.
Yeah, back in the day, man.
Oh my goodness.
Like I just said, I'm not going to go down this road. I am. Even though I did as a child. Because I had pretty much everything on this list. Other than the firehouse, which thanks to the Bennett bros, I now have.
What's up, Bennett boy?
But man, this is real minty.
Smell good.
I like it. It's going to go great with the others. Thank you, my friend. So I just got to get those three. I got to get Wolfman, Zombie Monster, and Quasimodo.
I got Quasi coming in the mail for me.
And I want them carded. So.
They're little cardboard tombs.
Nah, well, I will eventually get them loose. So, this actually wasn't a pickup, folks. This was a gift from my cousin Nisha. And this line, the Bionic 6, is a line that I loved growing up. It was very short-lived. The cartoon was short-lived, but I loved the cartoon, and I had every single one of these toys. And what was rad about these toys was they were plastic and die-cast, so they had some heft to them. They were beast of toys. I never had any of the accessories, like the actual like play set that they had, or their van or anything like that, which I did want, but I could never afford it.
These are beautiful.
Yeah, and
very inexpensive line.
Well, yes, he jokes.
Bye, kid.
This is a very expensive line to try to re-get, but I'm going to try because man, I want it. And this is one of those things where I'll take loose, I'll take carded. It doesn't matter. I want to recollect the whole line, and that's it. There's not a huge amount of them. That's it.
Maybe 10, 12 figures.
But they're so damn expensive.
They're in like the $50 to $100.
People got them crazy gouged online.
Yeah.
But I almost wept when this was open. So thank you, Nisha. Now back to oh, this was fun. This, what are you doing? You can't be T. Only I can be T. This is my Mr. T from my childhood. This is my Mr. T from growing up in Wellsville, New York. And I have been scouring eBay. It's on there. It's very easy to get, but I wanted to get a carded Mr. T figure just to have it in my collection again because I thought this was gone.
You found that?
My aunt found it in my room in a tub. Now, I've told you guys, I've told Jason, I went back over the summer to go down and get some 80s stuff from my room growing up. And my aunt calls me up and she's like, Chris, you know, I have this gray tub here.
Hold them?
That you didn't take the last time you were down here. And I'm like, what? What's in the gray tub? She opens it, and there was a bunch of Toy Biz X-Men figures carded, and a bunch of Spawn figures carded. And in addition, was my Mr. T action doll in the box. And man, I was like, the Mr. T? Mr. T is in there? She's like, yeah, fool. Yeah, fool. T's in here. You're not T. There's only one T. You be T. You be me. So I got my Mr. T.
You and your aunt talk like this.
So that's not really a pickup, but it is a
it
is a re-grab from my childhood room, and now it's going into my shelf.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you, fool. I can't wait to eat you in a bowl. Mr. T.
You know that I know. Oh no, wait, that was Ralph Cram.
Okay, so this is one of those things. I didn't have the Care Bears growing up, okay? But my sister did. And like you, with the Cabbage Patch and the other stuffed animals you have, it's a feeling. It's a nostalgic feeling. This stuff was very prominent in the 80s. We saw it. It was just everywhere. And it helps bring those feelings back to me. So, here is my 1983 Care Bear in pristine condition.
All right, guys. What was the bear called with the sunflowers?
Nothing was wrong. Nothing. This is awesome. So I picked this up $3.
Really?
$3.
Jeez, I should have went with you that day.
And I'm gonna do that last.
So when we do a toy room tour video coming up in the next couple of weeks, you will see a whole shelf dedicated to non-boy toys, and this is one of them.
That's right. Jason has it. My sister had it. Now I have it. A bling bling Teddy Ruxpin. Now what was cool about this was a Craigslist, like, off the cuff. It was just like a, meh, I'll just see. You know, typing them in eBay, typing in whatever. I was just like, okay, let's do local.
Did you type in Teddy Ruxpin?
So I just typed in Teddy Ruxpin in Craigslist, Rochester, New York, and skabam.
Wow.
Teddy Ruxpin showed up.
Oh my God.
This, all these tapes, and all the storybooks.
Why don't we show them a little bit about what we're talking about right here?
Show and tell time. Another teddy bear? My teddy's name is Teddy Ruxpin. He talks, he tells stories, he...
4 batteries not included.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking to people. I would like you...
What's even cooler is that he works. He talks. There is nothing wrong with his speech. The animatronics are still working. Everything is perfect. It comes out crystal clear. But the wench stole the batteries. Right after she sold it to me, she's like, I'm gonna need those batteries though. Which was really weird. So she took her batteries back.
Well, we know what she's using them for.
But, yeah. So folks, you would put the tape back in here, right? You'd press play, and Teddy began to tell you the story that you could read along. It was, back then, pretty amazing. It was like your own animatronic creature.
Yeah.
So I remember maybe not wanting it, but being envious that my sister had it. Because I was like, that's such a cool toy. And what did I get? Like a $2, like, whatever, you know?
What's even more amazing about Teddy Ruxpin is that when he worked without batteries, and he would bludgeon your family in the middle of the night.
Yeah, him and my buddy would team up and they'd, you know, shank you.
Been there.
But, $40.
Yeah.
For the whole thing, $40. I was like,
yeah.
You're mine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good stuff. We've seen some... I actually got my hands on a boxed Teddy Ruxpin a couple years ago, and for some reason don't have it today, which is disgraceful.
Yeah, I would have jumped for a box.
I don't know why I tossed it and sold that. I don't know.
Okay, now, the last thing that I bought myself.
Brace yourself, boys and girls.
This is one of my grails. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me whine and complain that it wasn't part of my collection yet. But now it is.
'Tis now.
So, we have here.
Here it comes. Get ready.
A complete mask rhino. Right here. With its drivers, with their masks. Bruce Sato and Matt Tracker are right here with their masks. And the rhino is indeed complete. Wow. It's got the It's got the elusive rocket. that is always missing. It's got the hatch that is always missing. The colors are still good. Stickers are still pretty good, other than this one back here.
Oh, they're good.
Everything is there, folks, and I got it for $60.
But the best part is you bought this from a notoriously insane gouger in town.
Yes, yes. The guy's prices are laughable.
Yeah.
So when he said $60, I probably did a quadruple take. Like, what? You know, like I was blown away. This was part of my trifecta of grails for the mass collection. I used to have this. I've wanted it. I gotta be honest, I did want it with a box. I'm not gonna be a dick to myself and refuse it, but
here you go.
I will probably track down an empty box for this just to display in the background, because man, I love that Kenner mask production value. I love it. I love the art. I love it's so cool. It just helps bring the feelings back to me, just having some of that magic. But this, now I just need the Switchblade with Miles Mayhem, which was his helicopter/jet, and Matt Tracker with his Thunderhawk car. I need those. I need them in good condition. I need them complete if possible. Maybe if you happen to have the boxes, let me know.
The boxes laying around your kitchen.
Of course, I know this stuff is on eBay. Don't you think I know? I've been searching. I've been looking for those elusive deals. Yeah. That's what I want, folks. The deals. I don't want the price gouging. I don't want to pay $85 for a Thunderhawk, which is, come on, it's ridiculous. Which is usually what the Rhino goes for. If not $85, then $135 or $185 with the box. You know, so
$60.
I can't. $60. I'm so happy, and I will do a mask segment, a spotlight. That'll be a part of a different one of our shows.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Thank you, me.
What a day.
And then I cried out of guilt.
Yeah, but that was the day that you also picked up my first G.I. Joe.
No.
No?
Actually, oh wait, yes, true, it was. I got him a present as well. See? I couldn't just get, I got something for River and for Katie.
Yes, you did.
So I still, even with that money, I had to get stuff for my family and my pals.
So there you go.
And I still felt guilty.
Well, of course you did. But, that's what this is all about, guilt.
That's what our show is about.
Guilt. This is guilt. So there you go, guys. A couple of pickups for me. The beginning of an obsession. That's right. You guys out there want to know what my next big thing is? Well, it's the Kenner Real Ghostbusters line. I'm all about it. Right now, I only have, 5 or 6 figures in the firehouse and the box. But we're going crazy. It's full steam ahead.
Masters of the Universe, Mask, Bionic 6, Food Fighters.
I like to work one obsession at a time.
I'll do it all, man. Just if I find them, I mean.
But like I said, I'm going to be dumping something off. I've got actually a Sega Master System.
I'm going to be dumping something off real quick, too.
That's a little later.
It's going to be good. We're going to have to fight for it. The porcelain throne.
Wait till you get home. I'm going to be selling off a Sega Master System in about 20, 25 games. Space, I don't play it. It's not going to, whatever. So that could get me about $150, $175, and then I'm just going to splurge. I'm going to load up the Ghostbusters just so I can start that.
It's going to be a good day.
G.I. Joe thing. But anyway, so that's that. That's our So Sleepovers video store. You saw Karen at Village Mall Video. You saw a couple of awesomely radical tubular pickups that we've had since we visited you last. It's the season 2 premiere, guys. We are here. So what we always like to do is talk about where we're headed. But before that, we got a couple of shout outs to make.
Oh my goodness.
We got a few hellos. So you have seen that we have initiated a Patreon account or Patreon what is it?
Yeah, Patreon page,
a page
Patreon
account, whatever.
Yeah, like.
And we've had a couple of patrons, if you will. So
yes, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much to
who? Leroy Green, 85.
Leroy Green, 85. One of the OGs of my channel. Came on way back when we were just doing wrestling figure reviews. And Leroy Green popped on, and he was the first to jump on that Patreon account. And then we had our boy.
That's right.
Our man.
Dan.
Our homie. Dan
Friar.
No, it's Friarmouth.
Is it?
It's Friarmouth.
Okay. If it's not, we're just going to keep saying it this way.
Yeah, you are now known as Dan Friarmouth. Which,
right, T-Bob?
Which could be, yeah, right, T-Bob? Which could be your name. But if it's not, we'll come up with a different one.
Yeah,
but Dan Friarmouth jumped on, and he is a mega contributor. And so we owe him some stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get some stuff. He's going to get some extra stuff.
Extra goodies.
Especially when he comes and smells our stuff.
Dan Friarmouth is coming to Rochester, New York in June. And we're going to have him sitting right here on this couch.
Yeah, man. I'm going to give him the full... we're going to lay out a Saturday morning sleepover event.
We got a whole
we just
thing.
really got to treat him like a king.
This is how this happens, guys.
Like a queen.
You come to us, we will treat you like a princess.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be real dainty.
So Dan Friarmouth, what is up? Leroy Green, 85. You are my friend, and we'd love to have you sitting here someday as well. Chase Party, we always want to say hello to because he's just the coolest kid in the world.
Of course, T-Bob.
T-Bob.
Again, thank you guys. You know,
Christian
I get
Hafer.
it.
Christian
I
Hafer.
get it.
Would you say hello to Christian
the Patreon?
Hafer?
Hey, Christian, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I'm tugging it for you. So the the Patreon is up there. I get it. I understand, folks. But it's there if you want to help us out. I gotta say it really is going to help us out. Like,
here's what I'm thinking. When Leroy Green and Dan's funds come in, we're gonna you know, whatever we do, you know, basically they're buying our tickets to Steel City Con.
Yeah.
So Dan and Leroy Green have purchased basically our tickets to Steel City Con, which is an awesome, amazing convention coming up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in April. And the two of us, actually, three of us.
Oh yeah,
You haven't
Carrie!
met our special guest yet, and guess what? She's a girl. Guys.
Carrie's coming along.
We're all going to be hanging out at Steel City Con, and you will be getting mega footage of that event. We are going to capture our interaction with celebrities. You're going to see the two of us meet a chick called Tiffany.
Tiffany!
You know,
Tiffany.
and who else?
We will not be alone. We will be with Tiffany.
No, we're going to tumble to the ground.
That's
who
right.
else are we meeting?
Oh my gosh. The ghost of Ric Flair.
The ghost of Ric Flair, who has pulled out of Steel City Con.
Who knows? Who knows who we're going to be meeting?
Yeah,
you know?
who knows? The guest list is on and going.
But that's not even the big reason. We want to go. We want to like promote the show. We're going to talk to people about the show. We're going to throw out flyers. We're going to get some footage. We're going to do pickups.
And we would love to meet
you. If any of you guys are in the area,
Pittsburgh, PA,
and you want to come, you know,
Steel City Con,
hang out with us chuckleheads
in April, get yourselves out there. A couple of folks showed up at RetroCon.
It was awesome.
And came to our table, which we've talked about, but we're not going to be setting up a table. We're just going to be walking around like nerds. And we would love to hang out with you guys, but we're going to grab you a ton of footage. Of course, we're going to try to get maybe a few minutes with a particular celebrity.
Indeed.
But that's all part of this Patreon account. So thank you guys. Thank you, Leroy Green 85. Thank you, Dan Friarmouth, if that is your real name. And we will see you here in June.
Don't forget our TeePublic.
TeePublic, we got T-shirts, I think.
That's right.
Did we
got
make
T-shirts.
Did we do that?
We got some merch. We got cups. We got stickers. All sorts of stuff. Thank you to the people who did get the stuff. It's still on there.
Yeah.
Every now and again, they go on sale.
Yeah.
They seem to do it a lot.
Yes.
So
every other week.
Grab yourself some new 80s Revolution merch.
Yeah. And if you bought something, let us know.
Oh, please, yes. Like, I did mention this before, but I haven't really gotten anything. So if you have a picture of you with our stickers or our shirts, if you're wearing them, send them to me, and we'll throw them up on the show.
And we'll give you a shout out. Yeah.
Like right now.
Here's a
Brandon
picture
Bennett,
of our boy,
Brandon.
one half of the Bennett boys.
And his wife, who are sporting the new 80s Revolution gear.
Look at that.
And stickers.
Look at that glossiness. Look at the fit.
It's pretty moist.
It is a moist. But we don't know who ordered. So TeePublic doesn't tell us who ordered.
Not at all.
They just tell us that somebody ordered a shirt. So if you have bought anything from us, let us know, because we want to thank you personally for contributing to this madness. I know you've got some projects coming up. I am going to be... This room is about 85% done. And in the next couple of weeks, we are going to do a brand new...
It is coming.
It is coming. A brand new 2018 toy room tour. I'm gonna have a guy behind the camera, and we're gonna hit every single bookshelf, and I might have a story to tell about each toy.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And then we got some shows coming up.
Yeah.
Like
Steel
we're gonna...
City Con, man.
Well, we got Steel City Con. We've got,
I mean, the other stuff is a little off. It's a little more like in the end of the year.
Yeah, but what's coming up on the New 80s Revolution?
Oh my goodness. Well, you heard us talk about it. We've already got some excitement brewing for our second episode of the second season, which is our 1980s wrestling episode.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I just can't wait.
That's going to be in a couple weeks. Then we got the food. Oh no, the music episode.
Music episode of the 80s.
That's going to be coming up.
Special guest coming up on that episode.
Carrie Elizabeth, good friend, fellow 80s enthusiast. She's got
Carrie?
some great stories. She's got some great merch as far as what she has in her collection. And she always joins the fun for the Saturday morning sleepovers and whatnot. So that's the music. That's the big 1980s music show. That's going to be in March. Directly after that is our food show with a Mr. Chris Tansky coming back.
You remember him.
That's going to be a
From
lot of
Frank
fun.
Rags.
80s food, how it was, what it's like now, what are the differences, what's the same, how's our gut going to expand.
How much food can we fit in our throats?
As you're going to watch us scarf it all down. 340 something, scarfing down food. It's gonna, oh my God, it's gonna be great. Again, Mean Gene versus a donut. Folks, you're not gonna want to miss this show.
Yeah.
And then
toys.
And then after that is the big two-part 4-hour extravaganza.
Mid-season finale.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, my God.
We're not cutting this off in June?
I can't even imagine. Like, what? Like, really? Like, who knows?
No, we're
gonna go. What? Do we get to go into season 3 in this year?
Oh my God! Well,
how amazing would that be?
And again, part of the Patreon gimmick, it would be amazing. Part of the TeePublic is to get us some gas money, so that we can hop in the Beamer and come to you guys. I want to come to your home. Yeah. Take us around, buy us some food, and
we're gonna interview you
and bring us into your collection.
Your collection.
Bring us into your collection, or if you're in town, stop by here. We will have in the next couple of months, in the next 6 months, we will have 2 people who have become who are fans and viewers. 2 people will be coming to this show.
That's right.
Okay, so when we said that we wanted you on this show, we weren't just making it up. And we've had 2 people who have already decided to make the trip to come to this area, and they will be sitting on this couch, and you will meet them.
It's going to be rad.
Yes. So, again, thank you for joining us. We're up to, 742 subscribers.
Yes.
Get us to 1,000 so we can stick it back to YouTube. Get us that 3 cents a day that we were making before. And, keep watching. We're always so thankful for you. You know, we love you. We say it every single time. Thank you for watching. We're hanging out on Facebook with these guys. We're having a good time. We're meeting people. We're making friends out of this.
I mean, remember, we do have that Facebook page, which grows exponentially every single day, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we get so many likes a day now. It's just so sweet. So hopefully the folks at the Facebook page will weasel their way on over to this show here.
Don't just like the Facebook page. Come join us.
That's what this is about.
Get
That's
here.
An offshoot of what this is. Right. That's not the main event. This is the main event. You know what I'm saying?
I'm exhausted.
Like,
you exhausted?
No. I've been taking down the caffeine.
Well, you know what?
I got sodas in me, but we can go.
We're gonna thank you. We're gonna thank Clint Kelly. Yeah. We're gonna thank
we'll do it later.
You guys. Yeah, we're gonna thank the hell out of them later. We're gonna thank you guys. We're gonna thank each other. We're gonna thank Teddy Ruxpin and
Thanks,
Mr.
Teddy.
T. We're gonna thank the Ecto 3. We're gonna thank the Ecto 3 and Dracula. And we're gonna see you in a couple of weeks on episode 2. So stay tuned. We might do some solo projects for then. Before then, leave us some comments. Talk to us on Facebook. We will see you all soon. Thanks for joining the New English Revolution. We'll be back next time. See you soon.
For a bonus thing?
What is it?
I got boo.
I got boo.